We have to have meaning to suffering. We were talking earlier in our conversation about how in the pre-sexual revolution days, a lot of men and women, especially women, suffered in bad marriages, even abusive marriages. And I think the sexual revolution was in part, especially on the divorce front, to make that less likely, to give men and women who are miserable and suffering a way out. And I think that this was well-meaning, certainly. But I think we have developed a culture now, a general culture, that is very therapeutic and that sees any suffering, even the most minute anxiety, as somehow bad and something to be completely avoided. I write in Live Not by Lies about a young woman in Budapest. She's in her mid-30s. She was my translator when I was in Hungary doing research. And we were riding the tram through the city, and she said, Rod, I really struggle as a Catholic to talk to my friends, especially my Catholic friends, about the struggles I have as a wife and mother of a young boy. I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, as soon as I tell them that, my husband and I haven't been getting along lately, or our little boy hasn't been sleeping well, they cut me off and say, well, get a divorce, put your son in daycare, you've got to be happy. She said, I tell them, wait a minute, I am happy. I'm happy being a wife. I'm happy being a mom, but a happy life doesn't mean a life with no anxieties and no struggles. But she said they can't understand that life can be good if there's any suffering in it. I looked at her and said, Anna, it sounds like you're fighting for your right to be unhappy. She said, that's it. Where did you get that? I pulled out my phone, went to chapter 17 of Huxley's Brave New World. That is the basis for the totalitarianism there. The world controller tells John the Savage, the dissident, he says, why don't you want to join us? We offer you Christianity without tears. And he says that John says there's something about human nature, a fulfilled human nature that requires tension, that requires suffering. So he does fight for his right to be unhappy. I think, Louise, that ultimately this is why we're going to have some sort of recovery, true recovery of Christianity, and not just a sort of moralistic therapeutic deism that constitutes so much popular Christianity today. Because in the end, if we're going to find a way to restrain our sexual desires and to sacrifice them to a greater good, the greater good which is love, not deny them, but to purify them and raise them up, it's going to happen within a theological context that gives meaning to suffering.
For early access to shows and for bonus content, register now at thebigconversation.show.